Hello, I'm Stone Oakvalley, and in this little tiny video I will show you the headache of Commodore 64 I have been struggling with for the past year. And it's all prepared in front of me here, but first I will tell you the story of this machine so you have a little bit of background. Yeah, so the story started in 2006 when I was finding machines for my Stone Oakvalley's Authentic Seed Collection, or the SOASC. And in that project I needed to record PAL and NTSC tunes as specified by High Voltage Seed Collection. And of course I only had one white bread bin machine. So I kind of started off with this one, and then eventually I managed to buy more of this bread bin, the old one, down in the corner here in Norway. But of course, NTSC machines, I have to buy that on eBay from USA. So I bought my first machine, and that was just black, and I paid like $2 for it or something. It was really cheap. This was 2006, and throughout the year I bought a couple of machines because I wanted to find the variations that I can use in the SID recording. And the SID recording, the first version looked like this. So there's two Commodore 64 here, and then I will record PAL tunes, and then I will switch the machines, and then switch the chips inside the machines to cover all the tunes, and also try to find different variations of the SID chips because of the strong filters they have. But anyway, there are two pieces here. One is for the Windows software that is recording, and the other PC was for the file server. So the Commodore would load files from a PC. This was generation 1, so it was really prototyping. But anyway, this machine that was black was an NTSC machine, and I didn't manage to fix it, so I just put it in my parts, and then I just slowly began to pluck away the chips and use it in the PAL machine. And eventually, this board was the only one left on my stock, so I had repaired a bunch of Commodores since 2006 in my collection. And about 3 years ago, I was taking a look at this card, and I thought, I'm not going to use this for anything, so what could I do? Should I just sell it for scrap, or should I just keep it? But then I realized that I had actually a bunch of chips left on my stock and parts. So I just thought, okay, let me just see what objects I have and buy some new stuff maybe, and try to look around in my trash and see if I could find the missing parts. And eventually I ended up producing this jigsaw puzzle. So there's the main board, and then there's whatever I had left of plastic and pieces of everything. So I started just simply gluing the bottom cover together, and I had all the parts actually. I didn't manage to find all of the single pieces, so you can almost not tell that it's been glued together. And then the top needed some work. There was like a bad situation going on with the label, and somebody put a reset switch in there at some point. Yeah, so I just tried to rescue the label and try to repair it, so at least it's more or less complete. I had to put a white plastic foam or something there. And yeah, I had to also work on the keyboard a little bit. Of course, I was missing a bunch of stuff there too. So all these plungers and everything. So eventually I did manage to get all the parts together. And then I also had to build an adapter because the kernel basic and character ROM were all gone. So these are adapters from, I think, 28 pin to 24, because the Commodore takes 24, but the EPROM chips we usually have will be 28 pins. So of course I built some adapters for that. That was pretty easy to do. And just piece them together like this, and then, piece by piece I started populating the last keyboard, the last mainboard I had, and I put in these kernel ROMs. And eventually I did go through, I think I went through every single fault that the machine can have. And that usually starts with a black screen, no signal. And then it goes to black screen with a signal. And then you get blue border and blue screen. And then you get color RAM, rainbow flickering. And then you got RAM errors and character errors. And yeah, all the bunch. I went through pretty much everything. And slowly, piece by piece, I managed to bring life back to it. But even if I also converted it from NTSC to a PAL, so then you have to change the crystal and the VIC, and then a small jumper. So basically, this is just a tiny note, but I had to change the CPU, the PLA, the VIC crystal, and then some LS logic, of course, some color RAM. This 7406, it's like a timer, I think, for some clocks. And of course the basic kernel character ROM, and I also did a restore key modification, so that's, you remember maybe back in the day you have to bang really hard on run stop restore to reset the Commodore. So if you change this C38 to a lower value, I think, it feels much more responsive. And then I also had to do a bunch of keyboards and plugs and also a power input. So eventually I also went through some testing, the Desmond RAM test, which is a newer RAM test, and finally I did get an image on it, and that's where things got weird. So I have a machine that is acting extremely weird. When I turn it on, everything seems okay. The cartridge would work, and the joystick, and CIA chips, and audio, video. Well, audio kind of works, but what happens is that the cursor is blinking extremely slow, like it's blinking 4 times slower. And I actually had to put in a poke, which is this poke, 56325,4. And then the cursor started to blink properly, so I could type on the keyboard, because also the typing was extremely slow on the keyboard. And I changed all the chips, and I went back and forth hundreds of times until I basically just gave up a year ago. And I just couldn't figure out of it. It is so weird. I checked all the chips and did all the testing. I checked all my soldering, of course. There was only one broken trace. But anyway, it was I ended up like 2 months ago thinking I need some professional help. I need help from people, and this is why this video was created, to kind of put out a statement there. I have no idea how to solve this. But before we go over to the main presentation, there are some music being played in during my testing in the next segment. And I will just play that music for you now, how it should sound, so you know how the song should go. So you can listen to the first one. This will be the main menu for cartridge, power play. But you should listen to the music and then remember it, because it's gonna be important later. Yeah, so that was that one, and now I will listen to the one of the games on that cartridge. So on that PowerPlay 64 cartridge, there are 3 games: Rick Dangerous, Stunt Car Racer, and Micro Pro Soccer. And this is the Rick Dangerous music. And I will also enter the gameplay. And then the music will shift a little. And then during the testing further out in the video, I will also play a game called Sorcery, and that music isn't even playing in my testing. But this is how that music should have sound on this machine. Yeah, really sounds like a FrankenStone team, doesn't it? Anyway, well, when I need to find parts for this, I usually will also have to find screws. So especially for the keyboard, I need to find this tiny little screw inside this mess. Because these screws I have collected since 2006. And yeah, these are all kind of random screws, and you can imagine the nightmare finding the needle in the haystack in this stuff. So I'm just showing you that I at least found one of them. But yeah, I did found all the screws I needed for the keyboard. But anyway, I will switch over to myself, where we will do a really deep down testing, so you can really see what I'm talking about. And yeah, this machine is just a freaking nightmare. Hello and welcome back. So yes, here you can see the Commodore 64, and currently it is blinking, but the cursor is blinking 1/4 of the time. So I can actually type. So I can type poke E, and now I will poke a special poke, which is 56325,4. And thanks to my friend Waxhead, he actually pointed this out. I don't know if he found it or he saw it in some kind of video. But the weird thing is that when you do this, I got a blinking cursor. And this is the original speed of a cursor. So I'm like scratching my head. What is this? Because as I said in the presentation, I've changed all of this. I did the modifications and this is basically an NTSC machine converted to PAL, right? And if I do reset, it's all back to the slowness. And I can't figure out of this arrow. I've tried everything, like I said in the presentation, so I will just show you now what happens when I insert this power play cartridge. This is Rick Dangerous, Stunt Car Racer and International Soccer. And you would think that everything would be like 1/4 of the speed, since, I don't know, is the CPU okay, or is it something else, some timer, NMI timer or something? But now you can listen to the music, and I will turn down my TV a little bit. But if you know this song, it sounds like broken. You hear that? It sounds really bad, really choppy. But the funny thing is that while all the raster bars is working, the joystick is working, I can load the game. You see it's decrunching. This is all normal speed. So what happened to the 1/4 of speed now? I don't know. And we will watch this decrunch, and when we come back, now you can hear that really bad sound again. And I will try to start the game. It doesn't sound good, right? And now you can see I can play. I think this, I'm not a big Rick Dangerous fan, but I think this is pretty what I would expect. But the sound is messed up. But the joystick responds immediately. So of course we can try another game. Just to prove the point, let's do Stunt Car Racer. That's a classic. So in that game you could see there was basically no affection going on with the arrow of this machine. The CPU and graphics and everything looks just super fine. I haven't tested Stunt Car Racer on this machine, but I think it's, you know, it feels responsive. And let's just do a practice then. You know, the high jump. And it renders fast. I mean, yeah. The frame rate is what it's supposed to be. So that just shows, like, what the hell is this bug? So maybe we should try, I don't know, let's try Epic's fast load just to see if that one boots up, because the cartridge is working. And now it says EF92. I have no idea what that means. 31.99. Okay, so now I have fast load. The problem is, now I have to press really hard and suddenly I get the cursor at some point, like it's matching a sub frequency or something. But of course now I can type, right, and I can type this thing again really slow. 3, 2, 5 .4, and I think there's a commando for the fast load, so you can see that it actually is working. Of course there's no disk attached there, but so yeah, it's kind of working too. And yeah, what is this? Some diagnostic cartridge. I don't know if this even works. Unfortunately I don't have a perfect cartridge harness kit. I only have this home burnt half working stuff, but okay, this one was working. And you can tell that the CIA, if one of them is broken, you can see now that there are 2 numbers in the bottom and they are all synchronized. So that tells us that the CIA chips is okay. We know that the CPU is okay. The PLA, the sound chip, I have tested that in other machines, so I know it's okay. Of course, now it will fail on a bunch of shit because I don't have the harness. But in a couple of days I will attend a computer party a couple of hours from here, where a friend will bring a proper test harness, and I will see if I can make some video out of that or whatever. So let's try. This is just Mrs. Pac-Man. For some reason I have like 10 of Mrs. Pac-Man all in loose cartridge form. So we will press 1 to start. Yeah, keyboard is working. The sound is again messed up, but the gameplay is fine. Actually, it's not working down. Or maybe it's different port. I don't know. That could be. Let's see. Yeah. So yeah, same stuff again. Stuff is working. So why don't we up the scale a little bit? And now we shall try an actual device load. So this is of course a 1541 emulator. There's an SD card, and then yeah, it emulates just a disk drive. It lights up. Of course, now I need the cursor if I'm gonna type anything, so I just have to find the correct reset time, and I have to type really slow too. Poke. Yeah, I'm doing it a little bit the hard way. I know you can shortcut this, but anyway. So let's see what's on this. You see it's loading fine. I can type on the keyboard. It scrolls nice. I could of course load a game. Of course now it will take some time because I don't have this, where is it? The fast load, because that kind of makes things worse, I feel. So now we have tested the stunt car racer, the fast load. We have tested the diagnostic stuff, Mrs. Pac-Man, and afterwards we're gonna do some really crazy testing with this. But before that we will actually look at, I do have one test cartridge. That is 64 Doctor by Trilogic, and for this thing I have everything that is needed, so this is like a complete set. Okay, so now we have the sorcery loaded. So you see loading is fine, but the music doesn't even start to play, and this game acts a little bit weirder because you see, if you know that game, it goes very slow when it goes out the door, and suddenly just after it closes, suddenly you know, then it's okay again, and now I can click fire. I was too slow, so now I have to wait for some kind of, you know, synchronized 1/4 of a response time or something to get this back. Yeah, I think you actually have to be in there. Now I lose it again. I mean, this game is brutal. This was the first game I got on my Commodore 64, and my gosh, that was a hard hill to climb. This game is so crazy. Okay, so now he died. I think I should be able to start the game so I can actually play it. So this game is like almost responsive, but now you see when I do it, it's extremely slow. It shouldn't be like this. So it's like, now it's like, it's not 1/4 anymore, it's like something in between. And then I do know the speed of this game, it goes really fast, but now when it goes into the door, it goes like super slow. So this game behaves kind of differently. So now I will take out the emulator, and let's pop in the Triologic Doctor on this side up, and then also the serial dongle or whatever. Hope I don't shortcut anything here. Okay, it's having a little bit of pressure here, but I think it will be fine. Yeah, I don't know why it clicked on the space, but I can do restore, that is like instant, and of course the joystick is kind of working. I mean, why is it so unstable? I can press restore and now it will go through some kind of testing, and now it claims that the serial port on the CIA timer is bugged, but I don't think so. I mean, it doesn't really help because I already know that the CIA chips is okay. Now I will go for the final thing. So this is an FrankenStone64 with a couple of test programs, a lot of tiny little tests, and there's all just a bunch of mess inside there, so I might choose something wrong. But here you see it started straight up. We can do the instant keyboard. I don't have to do anything, right? So we will just begin on this stability. I don't know what this is. I think it's some kind of stability timer or something, and it shouldn't go like this. It should stop after a short while. I don't have a working Commodore here, so I cannot show you how it's supposed to be. But again, we have to reset some of these things, and there's a TOD test, so that would be the tape thing. And yeah, that's not a problem. I don't have a tape player, but I can tell you that the tape player, when it's plugged in, the motor is just spinning. Maybe that's a clue. I don't remember what this is supposed to do, but it's counting something. It's been a while since I tested all of this, but I will try to the best of my memory to recall. And then there was some kind of timer thing from the 8-bit show, and mine says only 000, but I have also seen sometimes, this machine is unstable, but sometimes I could see the number counting. And when I would run it on a Commodore 64, it's like 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. But on this particular thing, now it says 0. But when it was counting, it was counting like 1/4 of the time. So 1 second was actually 4 seconds. And that's why I always keep repeating this, 1/4 of the speed. I have no idea what chip it is that is causing this. So let's go maybe for, I did some testing here. Okay, so this is a very tiny test. This says that if you poke 2024 address with 160, it should be a square filled. And I do have a square filled, so that test is fine. There's a bunch of little tests I found online, like tiny little things. And this one also does a couple of pokes, and it said it should be a black bar top of screen. If gaps means RAM problem. Yeah, I don't have a RAM problem. And I will show you that in other tests here, that the RAM is totally fine. And here it says it should be an inverted A in the top corner. Number below should be 129. Well, what do you know? Score on both accounts. So I think this is some kind of kernel or some other testing type. And this should be a chessboard in top corner. Number below should be 255, if not, problem. And you can clearly see there's a chessboard and 255. So all of these tiny tests just shows that it isn't like a It's not a RAM problem. I don't believe it's a PLA problem either. There is something weird on this card that I cannot figure out of. Was it 6 or 5? Well, it was the wrong. So let's go for number 7 then. 6, 7. Kernel checksum checker. Value should be 255. Okay. So I think maybe this one might be a little bit slow, so let's just wait a little bit and have a drink. If this takes, like, if I'm not back in 2 minutes, just wait longer. What the hell happened to Jim Carrey? Okay, so let's skip that. I mean, I know it's gonna do the thing anyway, and it's gonna be expected. This one I ran before I started recording, and this number was also okay. So we do know that the kernel and basic and character ROM is 100% okay. The color RAM is okay. What else can we test there? So this is kind of random CIA test. Let's see what it is. Any key switches timer, testing timer B. Okay, but if one of my timers is bad, how can I know when it's, yeah. I forgot what this was supposed to do, but I don't know how long it's gonna do this, so better exit. As you can see, there are some tests that kind of fails, and this is a RAM checker, or some kind of checksum thingy. I guess it's a combination of all these 3 chips and maybe the RAM chips or something. And of course, if I touch any of these chips, they are just stable operating temperature. Yeah, of course the wick is under there, so yeah. Okay, so I might have lost the camera up here. I'll just restart it. I talk too much. Okay, so I guess it was okay then. Yeah, that's a grab kernel bug check. Yeah, that was something I wrote based on some kind of magazine or something. So kernel version, okay, so that means I have kernel version 3 burnt in here, and I did specifically do that. I don't know what was in it originally, but I wanted at least the latest one. So here we probably touch on the problem with this machine. Something is off by the NMI. Or is it? Because this one was found on the internet somewhere, and it said specifically NMI test, so I thought, yeah, this is gonna prove something. But if I remember correctly, this one actually ends up with a spades or something in the top corner, and if it's a spade, it's okay. So obviously this so-called NMI test made by somebody says my NMI timer is okay. So what about the TOD timer? I do have some testing for that too, but it is like all the knowledge people know about this type of errors doesn't apply to this machine. It's truly a unique bug, and it needs professional help. I don't know how to use a scope. I don't even have a scope, and if I had a scope, I would know how to use it. And if I know how to use it, I wouldn't know how to read the numbers. And if I would understand how to interpret and read the numbers, I wouldn't know how to apply that to something here. So the knowledge I have of repairing Commodore is pretty much looking at it. Does it look okay? Do it feel hot? Okay, I know the error. Or it's just trial and error. Okay, one by one, checking, and then you see some progress. That's the extent my repair can go. I have no knowledge of circuitry or anything like that. It is above my pay grade. I believe that to other channels like Arctic Retro, Jan Beta, Adrian's Digital Basement, and those fantastic people who know everything about electronics. So to be honest, I don't know how long this NMI timer is supposed to go. I don't know if even my top camera is doing anything while it's recording. I think there's like a 20 minutes limit on that one. And I'm guessing I'm getting low on battery on that one. Okay, so we should speed this thing up. I have no idea what this is supposed to do, but it does something. Let's go for, I don't know, test 10. Press the key. Yeah. Again, I have no idea. I remember there was some other testing. Chip detect. That doesn't seem good. I got some overflow error. CIA TOD check. Check if defective CIA or TOD clock, peak, blah blah blah, all fine, values more than 0 equals 3. I think it's the same on our working Commodore. So now suddenly it's like, okay, if this was a TOD check, it says it's okay, then what the hell is wrong with this machine? CIA diagnostic? Again? It passed, it's a 6526, and that is correct. 50 Hz. Everything's okay. Joysticks, fire button, okay. Keyboard, it's not checking keyboard. You know, all these testing things just kind of telling me that everything is okay. Sys 40,000 to activate. Okay, so let's try and find a spot for my keyboard. Ah, there it is. Okay. I have to type this keyboard thing so I can 563254, and then sys 40,000. Yeah, we already seen this one, sorry. Like I said, there's a bunch of mess inside here. Memory test. Yeah, I'm not sure how that one, if it's actually broken. Some of these programs were found in different places, and some of them I probably hacked a little. This is also some kind of RAM test. Again, it says no errors. And yeah, let's keep going. Yeah, SID test, timing tests. Yeah, there's something with the timing test. There are some of these timer tests that kind of tells you something is wrong, but some of the so-called timing tests just said no, everything is okay. 64 tester. Yeah, this is also some kind of thing, but you know, as expected, everything is working anyway. This one doesn't detect my problem, doesn't indicate anything. Testing 2, so C64 diag, that's not working. CIA ports, press space, okay, yeah, shift lock, yeah, I don't think that is, it's connected maybe, left shift and right shift, yeah, I don't know, I guess it tests the CIA then, and whenever I type something, it's kind of reverting back to whatever is probably expected to be okay or default or something. Who knows? Testing 2. CIA test key. Yeah, this is also some kind of similar thing. I don't know if that one works. Doc ghosting. Yeah, again one of these CIA tests. So you see that I have a lot of programs that test various things, but only a few of them kind of gives you an indication that hey, I'm locking up, but I'm not telling you what's wrong. Yeah, there's another one of these reports, I think. So let's see if we can do it a little bit quickly. Come on, there. So just let's type the sys command directly. Okay, so I think this was some kind of Danish software I found. So basic start, basic stop, variable start, array start, and open files, device, cursor color, X and Y, accumulator, and interrupt. So yeah, I don't know what to make of that. It doesn't specifically say change this chip. That's what I'm looking for. Some stupid thing just tell me. What is this? Power test? Power stability test. If the numbers above vary widely, your CR4 rectifier or C90 capacitor is likely leaking AC ripple. Okay. I don't know what to make of these numbers, but I probably tested on a working Commodore. Unfortunately, I forgot what the result was, because the CR4, I think that's the one over here, the black cube or something, if I remember correctly. So we are almost at the end, I would say. So another NMI test. GIF is passed, interrupt lag detected. Testing enemy suppression. New GIF count 0, no change. Issue is IRQ or Pi2. So I think that's some kind of lane somewhere, but again, some of this stuff is above my pay grade. But what if we run it again with that keyboard hack I have here? So of course I just need a cursor to come back. Come on. Alright. Yeah, there you are. Okay. Poke. E. 5, 6, 3, 2, 5, 4. Oh god, this is headache. So now let's run it again with my poke. Oh wow, look at that. Huh. So whatever's in this address makes this NMI restore test react on something. So that's like maybe a clue for some smart heads out there. Well, so that's really fascinating, that you can actually impacted somehow. Let's do a megahertz test, interrupt speed test. Hardware frames, software jiffies, software clock is too slow. Interesting. Let's try again with the same hack. Are you there? You know, if you press one time too much, you will lose your... stop. Yeah, okay. You know, I get so stressed of this typing. I mean, this is a headache. Maybe we should hack the kernel to force this. So let's let's try now and see if we get some yeah. So the poke we did, you see now, kind of matches. Target is 1.0 and it has measured 0.97. You know what? Now I remember. All of these little tiny software that you see now is actually made by ChatGPT. I remember now. I completely forgot this. It's like 6 months ago I did this. And I had a little chat with ChatGPT to test its limits. And yeah, it actually works. Because I told him the problems and blah blah blah, and I told him also about this pokey, and he also of course gave me tips like I could check some components, measure some stuff, but I didn't trust that. And yeah, now I remember all of this is actually made by ChatGPT. And you can actually see a difference between when the cursor is blinking at the slow speed, or the machine is kind of stuck in a run, stop, restore kind of loop. So maybe there's some grounding issue that pulls the signal high or low or whatever. That's a typically thing like stuck stuff. So now you see it says CPU and video frequency, but nothing is happening. So what if we actually get our key board? I'm not sure what that address actually is. I forgot it. I'm sorry, I didn't prepare for this video. Let's do run. Haha, there you see. Now it run, just because I poked in that 4. You can see the cursor is probably blinking at the correct speed. And now the program ran. Well, it may be that it ran 1/4 of the time slower, but let's see. Mode PAL CPU 985. So that should be like 1 megahertz. CIA hardware 8521 new. I don't know about that. TOD clock heartbeat. TOD 1 running. TOD 2 running. And if I remember correctly now, I think there's something wrong with the TOD 2, but I don't know where that is here. I checked all the traces and everything. Kernel and sound, kernel 3, yes, SID not found. Well, hello, it's here. But let us check the final things here, because these are all made by ChatGPT. Calibrating. Of course, I forgot what this program should do. So we just have to wait. And by the way, have a drink. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so this is going a little bit slow, so let's try and come on. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's like I don't have to press hard, I know, but it's like I really want that key to get in there. So let's try run now and see. frame count total 183, so this is another CPU thing, and it says also 0.985. So why is that? Just by poking that number, the machine kind of lights up, but we know that the SID is still messed up. Oh, that's what at least I think it is. Let's see the... okay, so this is measuring 250 jiffies. I don't know the background story for this. Of course, it's in my ChatGPT history, buried down after 500 other chats. Yeah, I think this software is... it's actually working, made by ChatGPT. Yeah, you know what, I think I've proven my point and showed mysterious stuff. I don't think there's any more like software I had to test all kinds of whatever. Of course this is filled up with other things like light gun stuff, TOD test. Yeah, so that's that one. So let's see now, this is how fast it's counting right now. Can I stop it? Let's just see. Because now it was running at 1/4 of the speed. And let's see now, this will be the last test. Was that everything? Did I forgot? Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Is it faster or slower? Well, anyway, I think I've tested everything that I had placed here, and we went through the MMC and a bunch of test programs, and yeah, this machine is a pure headache. I've tried everything. Like I said, I've changed so much stuff here. Everything is in sockets, including inside here. We can of course open it up real time. You see they are all socket, and yeah, nothing is happening as I touch. The wick is cool to the touch. It's all like healthy. The entire temperature of the machine is just healthy. And it's not the keyboard either. So yeah, I've completely given up on this. I hope there will be some clever person can figure out of this stuff, because this is the last Commodore 64 that is not working in my collection. So yeah, and I hear the camera shut down again, so that means that this video is probably almost an hour. So I guess that's all for now. And like I said, if I go to the computer party, the low-res party in Bryne in Stavanger, and there are some things coming out of this, like some people can figure out what is wrong with this machine, then I will add a video after the ending, I suppose. So maybe this is the end, I don't know. Bye bye. Well, hello, I'm back. So it's been 3 months. This is now in June, and I went to the computer gathering in Stavanger in March, and I broke the Commodore 64, the FrankenStone64, and we tried to figure out of it. We did some scoping, and they basically found that there was like an interrupt, getting interrupted by an interrupt. I know, it's like a Twilight Zone. But what happened is that they tried some chips, and they can measure, and they saw that the signal got like a new signal in between, so there was like a dip and then lots of signals again, and that caused the timing error. But they couldn't really figure out if it was a component or a chip or anything like this. So when I got back home 2 days later, they emailed me and they asked me to check some things, and everything was fine. And then I basically, one of the guys said, I should check all the pins on the PLA, and I thought, well, I already checked that thousands of times. I have bended the board and everything. And I was looking at the pins. I know I've measured them before, and I was pretty sure it was not a crack in the board, and it was not the main chips, not the smaller chips, and not really the components either. So what is left? A random shortcut. Yeah. And finding that random shortcut between two pins is almost impossible, because imagine if you look at the Commodore board, there are, I don't know, 1,000 soldering dots, and just imagine if you take a wire here to a random dot and you plug it here, and what happens? You get a symptom. Maybe black screen, maybe a symptom, maybe something else, maybe the sprites don't work but everything else is working. And that is kind of what I had, right? So I couldn't see anything wrong with the PLA chip or the legs or the socket. I just, kind of gave up and just wandered my eyes, and then I noticed some kind of noisy, ghostly blob. It was like flux and maybe soldering things or something. And I talked, well, I can just wash it. And then I looked closely at it. I will show some pictures and illustrations of what actually happened. And it was so tiny you can't really see it with your eyes. I put on all the magnifying glasses and everything I could, and lots of light and bending it. And I couldn't really see if there was meant to be a connection, because the distance between these 2 points is very small, and then there was like this dust all over the place, like, this was a spare board, so dust and scrapes and all kinds of stuff happening there. But I took a screwdriver and I just slid it very lightly between two pins, and I could feel like a 0.00001% resistance, and then I heard this tiniest little, like a tiny little crack, just like you would take the thinnest metal pin in the world and break it. And that's what I hear. And I thought, no, is this it? I flipped the Commodore back over and I turned it on, and the cursor was blinking. Yeah, so what happened was that there was a tiny hair thin, actually even thinner than a hair. A hair would be a monster compared to that little tiny, joint that happened that shouldn't be there. So basically it shorted out the Pi 2 or the timer, not the frequency, but the one of the timers of the Commodore 64. It is connected to the CIA and the SID chip and maybe other places, I don't know, and also connected to a data line, I guess, from the CPU, so A22 or A12 or something. So that kind of explains the timing error was constant, because the data line would feed some kind of pattern into the already stable timing signal. So sure, that's why you get this like consistent, like I said, 1/4 of the speed, the cursor blinking 4 times slower. So yeah, that was it. I did have some other repair stuff on this Commodore. In addition, I needed to fix some standoffs, and then I got a problem with the shift lock, so I had to pad some padding inside just to make it work again. And then finally, I have never tested the tape, and in my desperation I accidentally starting replacing smaller components, so like transistors and Zener diodes, just because maybe that was the cause for the timing error, which was not. So I bought a pack of actually I didn't buy that yet. I found some transistors and Zener diodes, like random ones that kind of were equivalent or looked the same, Yeah. Turns out that I had a chat with the ChatGPT, and he asked me to measure some stuff because the tape would sense the play, but the tape wasn't spinning. So it was something with the power, and ChatGPT basically suggested replace the transistors. So I bought some transistors of, I guess it was Temu or eBay. That did not help. Then I buy a pack of Zener diodes, and particularly the one with a 2.7 volts. I put that in, and suddenly the tape was spinning and everything was fine, and now, yes, here it is working. And I have to tag it, of course, FrankenStone64, because the last 2 errors here were truly my fault. I messed it up, and yeah, the joke's on me. So this is what happens when you 16 years ago decided that this was supposed to be a spare board. You toss it around, you take parts of it, you solder, and blah. Yeah, it came back and bit me in my ass, so I spent like, what was it like now? 1.5 years trying to repair this. Yeah, that's the thing that comes bite you back again. Anyway, I will just switch over to myself now, and I will explain a little bit more about the details and everything. But yeah, I call off the help. I don't need help. This one has been repaired, and it would be the last in my collection that needs repairing. Well, I have one VIC chip that I need to replace, but that's no big deal. But this one was crazy, and that's why I wanted to make the video, even if I solved it. Just preserving the journey, so not everything is always the same with the Commodore 64. So yeah, you will hear from me in the next segment. Yeah, so this is straight after I had removed the shortcut, and I of course turn it on, and the cursor is blinking perfectly fine, and yeah, it does. So this was like 10 seconds after I fixed it. And I will also check again these games, so you can hear the music is now proper, and the sound recording is a little bit bad, but yeah, and you also might remember that the game was playing all fine, even with the timing error, but the sound effects and music was all messed up. So now I will also show you that the games are still working, and the music is what it's supposed to be. And I will reinsert the MMC64. Oh, that was actually the Pac-Man. Yeah, and the sound is all okay here. So no problem at all. Yeah, but that was it. That was really the thing working, and I will now just try to load. So this is from the floppy drive, and of course sorcery. but I can tell you that that was also working. So yeah, I went to the party, and this is just moments before they set it up to do some scoping, and then some guys came over and they started scoping, and they had removed the PLA, and then they can actually see that the timing was correct, but that is because the data line wasn't feeding anything, right? So of course it would be correct. And here he is also showing the actual dip that I'm talking about. And I will zoom a little, and yeah, so this is the problem. This dip shouldn't be there. But yeah, it was a great party, and they had a lot of screens around and some logos and some demos running. This was a one-day party, and I had a lot of good talks with friends, and I made new friends. And I had a lobby where they were playing old-school demos all day long, called the classics, and then we were welcomed into the area with this, I guess it's Amiga 4000 or 3000 or something. So they're running this intro like 24/7. Yeah, so I will try to go back to low-res number 5 in this year, in 2026, in September, I think it is. Yeah, and then after I had fixed the tape, I had a problem with the tape not spinning. I also documented that, so now I have replaced 2 other transistors and 2 Zener diodes that I messed up. And now finally the tape is also loading. Of course, I have to load the first game I ever loaded on Commodore 64, which is Sorcery. And yeah, you can now hear the music is proper. Yeah, the sound is really bad because it's a really crappy microphone, but yeah, but anyway, I said I found some treasures. There were some guys selling some cool stuff there, and of course it's unrelated to Commodore 64, but this item here I had bought in 1996. It actually replaced my CD32 as a functional CD-ROM drive for the Amiga 1200. And it also has high-speed serial. So I got this very cheap because this device crashed the owner's machine. And then I also found this one, GVP Impact Series 2 A500 with 8 megabytes of RAM. There was no hard drive inside, but there was actually SCSI2 SD card, which is much better because I had only really noisy SCSI disks that were working. So it was kind of bonus to find this card inside. The seller didn't mention that. He said, I could feel there was no hard drive inside. And yeah, I can't remember if he mentioned that at all, but when I opened it up, I got really surprised. So yeah, 2 really cool items, and yeah, what can I say? There's nothing more to say, really. This was the end of everything, and the Commodore is working. I don't need help, and the machine don't need help. So, yeah, this is what happens, and I will see you in some other future random video or something. Bye.